Major breaking news. President Donald Trump has just endorsed for the Wisconsin Supreme Court race on April 1st Brad Schimel, the Republican, over Susan Crawford, the Democrat. This is a big deal because our Second Amendment rights are on the line in Wisconsin, not just in that state, but nationwide, because so goes the Wisconsin Supreme Court election on April 1st will likely mean so goes the United States House of Representatives. That's right, in 2026. Let's break it down. Hey folks, I'm Mark Smith, host of the Four Box of Don, a proud American gun owner, constitutional attorney, member of the United States Supreme Court Bar, and I'm proud to say the top voice of the Second Amendment at the 2025 Gundies Awards. Thank you for your support. All right, folks, so I'm dressed in a suit today. I'm trying to play the role of William Kirk at Washington Gun Law and be the most dapper person in the Second Amendment movement. I had to do this because I was on Fox News yet again today, so you're probably going to see me in a suit quite a bit over the next couple months as we, fight the fight involving our right to keep and bear arms, the Supreme Court, and all sorts of other issues associated with legal problems and controversies with the Trump administration. So with that said, we have some major breaking news there, and this is good news, I think. President Donald Trump has just issued a statement endorsing Brad Schimel. Brad Schimel is running to be the next Wisconsin Supreme Court justice. That is a court that whoever wins the April 1st Wisconsin Supreme Court race between the Republican and the Democrat, whoever wins that is going to dictate the future of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. It will either be a right-leaning conservative court or a left-leaning radical court, and this is mission critical because one of the many key issues that's being presented to the Wisconsin Supreme Court in the next year or so is whether or not the federal congressional districts in the state of Wisconsin will be redrawn in such a way to make it more favorable to the Democrats. Right now, the federal House contingent, the federal House delegation that goes to Washington out of Wisconsin, breaks down 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats. 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats. There is a push by the left in Wisconsin to redraw those districts to make them more favorable to the Democrats, and by extension, rather than having a 6-2 lead for the Republicans, it will become a 4-4 tie. And with that tie means that the House of Representatives, just on that alone, could swing from the Republicans and Mike Johnson as the Speaker of the House to the Democrats running the U.S. House of Representatives, which would be very bad for the Trump agenda. Now, if you're out there in Wisconsin, you want to get involved, you should definitely, if you support the right to keep and bear arms, you should be looking very carefully at who you should vote for. But obviously, the right answer, if you support the right to keep and bear arms, seems to be Brad Schimel. He is endorsed by the NRA, and I'll give you some other information about him. But before we get to that, let's go to Donald Trump's statement that he issued on X. This is exactly what he said about Brad Schimel and who he wants to win. Wisconsin. There is a very important election for state Supreme Court on April 1st, and early voting is now underway. Brad Schimel is running against radical left liberal Susan Crawford, who has repeatedly given child molesters, rapists, women beaters, and domestic abusers light sentences. She is the hand-picked voice of the leftists who are out to destroy your state and our country. And if she wins, the movement to restore our nation will bypass Wisconsin. All voters who believe in common sense should get out to vote early for Brad Schimel. Powerful language, a great endorsement from President Trump. Let's just hope that the voters in Wisconsin understand the importance of there, and the same people that turned out and delivered Wisconsin for Donald Trump in 2016 and in 2024, let's hope that they turn out again. Just as a little reminder, in addition to being an NRA A-rated candidate, Brad Schimel, a Republican, in 2017 supported the Wisconsin Senate Bill 169, which dealt with implementing constitutional or permitless carry in the state. He supported that for the Second Amendment, obviously. He also has met with the NRA before and was endorsed as the Attorney General back in 2014 when he ran for Attorney General. He was endorsed by the NRA. He also, as the Attorney General of Wisconsin, signed a very pro-Second Amendment brief in the case of Jackson versus the city of San Francisco, which dealt with whether or not San Francisco's locked storage requirement violated the Second Amendment. In his press statement, this is what Brad Schimel had to say back then. Very good stuff. This constitutional issue is significant, so much so that a bipartisan group of attorney generals from 26 states has joined together to request that the U.S. Supreme Court reaffirm this right, which is contained in our Bill of Rights. We must act, because if the decision by the Federal Court of Appeals is not reversed, the precedent it sets could influence policy decisions and court holdings affecting the constitutional rights of citizens within their homes, not just in the city of San Francisco, but anywhere in America, including Wisconsin. That was a powerful statement in their amicus brief, and that he submitted the amicus brief along with other attorneys generals, but he also made that statement with respect to the Jackson versus San Francisco case in 2015, which sought cert to the U.S. Supreme Court on really locked storage and firearms. Beyond that, he's also on the record on issues associated with gun bans and views issues associated with the 3D printing of printed guns, if you will, as really a First Amendment issue, which it is, a form of artistic expression. And again, all computer code is protected by the First Amendment, or I should say its expression, its speech. So to the extent you're using computer code to write a program to print anything, including guns, that would seem to be protected by the right of free speech under the First Amendment because in the same way the computer code, a book, an article, a speech, your interpretation of the Bible, either articulated orally or verbally or in writing, whatever it is, that is all forms of speech that should be protected under the First Amendment, including the computer code associated with printing 3D printed guns, it would seem to me. And it appears that Brad Schimel agrees with that point of view, as well he should. So anyway, if you're out there in Wisconsin, you should definitely pay attention to this. Donald Trump has flagged your attention, everyone's attention to this case. There's a lot of money rolling into Wisconsin. I think Elon Musk has gotten involved, among other people, trying to support Brad Schimel, the Republican, over Susan Crawford, the Democrat. And again, at the end of the day, the big issue here is if the Democrat wins, the Democrats will control the Wisconsin Supreme Court. If the Republican, Brad Schimel, wins, the Republicans will control the Wisconsin Supreme Court into the future. And the consequence of that in the near term is whether or not the federal congressional districts are redrawn to maintain the 6-2 lead of 6 Republicans going to Washington with 2 Democrats, or will they be redrawn in such a way to make it 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans, costing the Republicans 2 seats and adding 2 seats to the Democratic tally in the House of Representatives, and with it likely causing the Republicans to lose control of the House of Representatives and to get somebody like AOC in there running the House of Representatives over the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who's in there right now. So there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you follow me on X at 4Boxes Diner, and don't forget to subscribe both to YouTube and Rumble, and I look forward to talking to all of you again real soon here at the 4Boxes Diner.
Orders up. Table 2A.